Alrighty, so the trailer from Marshall is passed. Chadwick is, he's getting the luxury to playing uh, a young version of Thurgood Marshall. I guess some shade Twitter chick had tweeted something about the whole colorism aspect of it, and I guess we don't have to talk about that. And I guess it is fair if we've talked about certain people not playing certain people because that person was significant in a certain way. If you can say that, people set who in context because he played James Brown. People, Lenny Kravitz, I thought he wanted that role or whatever. People were like, hell no. Even though musically he probably could have done a great job performing and acting like him. But, you got somebody like James Brown, I'm black and I'm proud, having a waffle colored brother play him, that might not work out too good. But we said no. Like, people didn't want that. People didn't want Zendaya being Aaliyah. So it's like, this is like, if we gonna be consistent, is there a problem with him playing it? Now, some people brought up another point that's valid, is that this brother has been Jackie Robinson. He's going to be the Black Panther. He's now playing Marshall, and what is it? He was James Brown. So it's like, why do you have a handful of people playing all these different historical people? It's funny that if you got, and I'm gonna address that later, the Negro nerds and the whole comic book space saying like, yo, we don't want people who work for DC or did a DC movie doing a Marvel movie, or we don't want people doing more than one character. They've done it, but people are starting to say we don't want to see that no more. So it's like, if people could come to that conclusion in some fictitious shit, then we should be able to say, like, in real movies, like, we can't have, within a short span time too, like, you can't even forget the actor yet, and we got people playing multiple roles. Now, we had this conversation about mixed women playing black roles. We had the conversation about Samuel Jackson brought up a point about Samuel Jackson made it, he brought up the point about, British actors playing roles that, Black America possibly could capture better. My comment is that on the Grapevine video, and the host of that show, she responded to one of my comments because I was like, yo, and like the dude Finn from the second last Star Wars movie, he's a British actor too. He's the one that kind of clapped back at Samuel, but he's also in this movie Detroit, which is based off a historical situation that happened. And I had put that like, damn, but she responded to me saying like, well, y'all getting out of hand. What do you want to do, ban them? And I'm like, well, I personally don't care, but like, if I were an actor, I probably would feel some type of way if I noticed I can't go to Britain and I can't go over there and pop off and become a superstar and whatnot, but they can come over here, and then there's the whole argument of them feeling like they're superior because they're classically trained, i.e. they just do theater, and they do the job cheaper. It's like, I understand capitalism, I understand business, I understand competition, but if I were in that position, I can't say, I wouldn't feel some type of way. So I think that's just the point. Norma Lincoln, Michelle Moses from Dr. Boy's camp, she's been vocal about her disdain for a lot of Black Americans because she is from Botswana and she's African. She's she doesn't like a lot of these Black people with the shitty African accents like Will Smith, and even the accent, I forgot his name, but the one who did the Mandela movie. It's funny, Black people all watched that was that New Edition for like 3 nights in a row for an hour and a half each, but ain't nobody talk about that Mandela movie that came on like 2 days later. But she said that she doesn't like that. Now, one thing I'll say that because a lot of these Africans will come on these posts and these conversations saying, well, we're tired of Black Americans playing African roles, and I'm like, the only thing I would say is, it would be the same thing if it was an African company. I think it's Bollywood or whatever, their distribution or their Hollywood. If they were hiring a bunch of Black Americans and doing movies that were written, wrote, produced by them, that would be the same thing. But an American company doing a movie about an African situation and using Black actors, I just don't think that's the same thing. Like, if that's what I'm saying. Like, Americans are producers and writers or whatever, they're picking British Black people to do certain stories that possibly Samuel Jackson said could have been portrayed better on film because of that. Now, again, this situation is not. It's complex. It's nuanced, right? Like Malcolm X, Denzel looked nothing like him, but Denzel been getting like kind of trashed a lot lately because people have been making fun of him. On the Carmichael last episode, I think they even came at him saying he plays the same character over and over again. But I will say Malcolm X was one where I didn't feel that whole, the same guy, the same guy over and over again. It felt like it was Malcolm X. Even people said that in the movie he was doing speeches that he never studied for, that he never even heard from Malcolm X, because they be doing that seance shit and all that, trying to talk to the dead folks and all that. But he did a great job in that movie. But his complexion and whatever, it didn't affect that. But moving forward, because that's the first thing people say was, well, he did that and whatever. And I'm like, well, I think we do have a lot more options now. I think there's a lot more, and then not to mention, it just gives other people more opportunities instead of seeing the same people over and over again. Just thinking, as you can see, the complexions are completely different in these two brothers, and I'm not saying it is or it isn't, but one thing that I think would be taken from the movies, if because Thurgood was a very fair-skinned dude, he definitely passed the paper bag test. People want to act like there wasn't a hierarchy and that dark skinned people were on the bottom and lighter skinned people or mulattoes or even people who could pass had some type of privileges or whatnot, like going to have a real job, going to school, being able to read and write. People act like that didn't happen. So you can't capture some of those type of things. Not saying that the movie wants to or is going to focus on that, but those are things you miss out on of like the historical environment, other than it was just like before, it was what? It was still segregation and all that stuff going on before Jim Crow or just during Jim Crow. But it's like those are certain elements that you can't capture when a brother is like you can't follow it. You know what I mean? That's just some things that off the bat I look at. But does it really matter? Some people want to minimize, say it doesn't matter. But if we brought this up about people being mixed, playing black roles, and we've been successful for like getting those people not to get the roles, and sometimes we haven't, then why not be consistent in the argument? I think he's a decent actor and all that, but it's like, you've been too many black people, dog. Give somebody else a chance. The funny thing is, when my first thought when I'm watching the trailer, when the other trailer, not this one that I played, was I'm like, oh, the house slave from Birth of a Nation, that brother could have been Thurgood Marshall, right? Now the argument would be is they want a young Thurgood Marshall. Now, seeing the trailer, his love interest is black. We know he didn't marry a black woman, so I don't know what's up with that. Maybe he didn't marry to her. I gotta go do some research, see if he got married to her later on in his career. But the brother who was the house slave in Birth of a Nation, I thought the first one that came to mind, but he probably would play a better older, Thurgood Marshall. But also, in Hollywood, they can use technology to make people look younger. It costs a lot of money. Do they have that in the budget? It is what it is. But I think, it's funny. He's in this movie, and I'm thinking, like, that's my first thought. My first pick would have been like, oh, he kind of looks like him, and he's a good actor. I would have picked him, and he's kind of like chubby, like how he is too, now in the screen. So I'm thinking, like, well, damn, like, it's even there's another brother who's younger and fair skinned in this movie as well. He's in the trailer. You can see him, who I also thought would have been a good second pick to play him. So it's just interesting. It's like, it's not like they don't have options, and there aren't people who are in a position who have receipts acting, and they can look the part too. So it's like, I don't know. I see two people in the trailers, and I'm thinking like, damn, those two brothers possibly would have sold the role a lot better than having a dark skinned brother play this man. I can say that. I know I wouldn't feel comfortable with the other way around. So, I mean, in fairness, it's like, why is it okay to be the other way around? And it's not that deep, it's not that serious, but it's like, it's 2017, and it's like, we shouldn't have, these situations where we can't find people that can fit roles better, that look the part, and that have the talent to do the role, I don't know. Jamie Foxx did an excellent job playing Ray. Looked like him, talked like him, all that. I remember Howard Stern was hating, saying he's just mimicking whatever. I love the movie Ray. I watched it several times. Will Smith did an excellent job doing Muhammad Ali. He looked the part, and he got the physicality of it too. It was one thing interesting too, because somebody was complaining about, and I watched one of Chris's recent video talking about how Storm is, been two biracial women. She's been Halle Berry, and this new chick that's replacing her. They're both biracial women, but when the comic book creator wrote it, he wrote her as his African, dark-skinned goddess, whatever. And the same thing happened, sometimes, like, in the past, like, a series that I'm a fan of is they gave the last movie to Tyler Perry, which was a total terrible, but Kiss the Girls, Along Came the Spider. Those books and films I'm a fan of, and Morgan Freeman has been in the first two movies. They let Tyler Perry be in the third one, which is terrible. But, like, the author of that, he wanted a character to look more like Muhammad Ali, like a young Cassius Clay. But at the time, who would have played that role? But Morgan Freeman ended up getting the role. But if you read the books and you come accustomed to this image, and then it's like Morgan Freeman, who's looked old forever, and he's not really physically, it's funny because Tyler Perry probably had the height and the size that he was looking for, but Will Smith probably has the look that was probably needed to portray. But anyways, long story short, he wanted somebody lighter skinned, real muscular and whatnot to play the character, but Morgan Freeman got the role. Did a great job and all that stuff, but I'm saying that happens when it's fake characters all the time. But I don't know about, is it necessary that we need to have these issues now when there's real characters and real people, and there's enough people that can fulfill those roles? I don't know. That's just my video. To be consistent, if we address the other situations, I guess we have to address them all. I'm looking forward to watching the film. It's not going to stop me from trying to see it, but I know if it was the other way around, I probably would be looking at it sideways like, yo, like, come on, like, you got some biracial dude playing Dr. King or whatever, like you could have cast somebody better than that. I.e., they did cast a British person to play that role. I haven't seen the movie yet, though. Ava DuVernay. But that's my video.